Hey, good morning there. We'll start off with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us for our trespasses. Forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Dear Lord, please pray and protect and bless the marriage of the Tannerites to Yowie family from YouTube. Keep them together happily for eternity and make their marriage stronger day by day. Amen. So, okay. The daily prayer is, Heavenly Father, I thank you that you are a good father. Hey, Night Slasher. Okay, yeah, you can watch it on replay anyway. I leave these up. Hit the like before you leave. It sucks you have to go to school. What am I going to take first? I'm taking a couple of ones because I don't feel like taking a whole bunch. I mean, one at a time. All three at once. 'Hold on, let me do my spray. I only need one in each. That's good. Flow needs Claritin together. Then you can breathe if you need. Okay. Let me read the prayer again. I'm sorry it stopped. Someone came in. I told him to at least hit the like, but I guess he didn't hear me. That's okay. The daily prayer is, Heavenly Father, I thank you that you are a good father. It's true. And the passage they suggest us to read is Jeremiah 29:11. So it's something different. I don't think I read this book yet. I like that name though. Let's see. Oh, it's only 52 chapters, 29. 11. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you. This is the Lord's declaration. Plans for your well-being, not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Yeah, that's pretty much. Let's see how long this is. Yeah, I can read this. Give me 1 second to highlight everything, and I'll read this whole chapter. But the book that we're reading, Deuteronomy, I'll see how I am. If I'm still coherent and can see right, because sometimes my eyes go fuzzy if I read a lot. But I will be reading the Da Vinci Code on my other channel. Hey, Eagle Earth, how are you? Okay, just okay. Okay, hit the like button if you would like to. No, I wasn't awake yet. It ended at 6, so I was definitely not up then. 6 my time. Because when she said she'll do it for an hour, I said to myself, well, I won't be up. Because I know what time she starts. Yeah, I seen her live yesterday when she did it, or the other day. You little bastard. Alright. Eagle, I am going to get going on my reading. Okie dokie. Oh, did you know I have a second channel? Hey, Angela. Yeah. Like, if I wake up at 5, I'll get up, go make coffee, you know. Hold on, let me put it in. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Hold on, let me just find it. There we go. And there we go. There you go. Eagle, that's my other channel, and I do just plain old chat lives on there. And I'm going to read the Da Vinci Code soon. I just don't know when. I think it's next Tuesday I'm going to start it. Okay. I'm going to get going on my reading. I'm going to read the passage again. So, for I know the plans I have for you. This is the Lord's declaration. Plans for your well-being, not for disaster, to give you a hope, a future, and a hope. Okay, that's Jeremiah 29. Jeremiah's letter to the exiles. This is the text of the letter that the prophet from Jerusalem to the remaining exile elders and priests and prophets and all the people. Oh boy, this word's kind of long. Nebuchadnezzar. Oh boy. Had deported from Jerusalem to Babylon. This was after King Jeconiah, the queen mother, the court officials, and officials of Judah and Jerusalem, the craftsmen and the metalsmith, and had left Jerusalem. He sent the letter with Elijah, son of Shaphan, and Jeremiah, whatever, son of. Sorry, you know what? Today's not a good day for reading. I'm going to have the guy read it.
Chapter 29. This is the text of the letter that the prophet Jeremiah sent from Jerusalem To the remaining exiled elders, the priests, the prophets, and all the people Nebuchadnezzar had deported from Jerusalem to Babylon. This was after King Jeconiah, the queen mother, the court officials, the officials of Judah and Jerusalem, the craftsmen and the metalsmiths had left Jerusalem. He sent the letter with Elasah son of Shaphan and Gamariah son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah king of Judah sent to Babylon to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. The letter stated, "This is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says to all the exiles I deported from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and live in them. Plant gardens and eat their produce. Find wives for yourselves and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your..."
Well, Eagle, I have a learning disability, and sometimes it's hard for me to concentrate and read at the same time and actually know what I'm saying. Today's not a good day for reading. I read yesterday's. I'm going to let him play.
Sons, and give your daughters to men in marriage, so that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there. Do not decrease. Pursue the well-being of the city I have deported you to. Pray to the Lord on its behalf, for when it thrives, you will thrive. For this is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says. Don't let your prophets who are among you and your diviners deceive you. And don't listen to the dreams you elicit from them, for they are prophesying falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them. This is the Lord's declaration. For this is what the Lord says. When 70 years for Babylon are complete, I will attend to you and will confirm my promise concerning you to restore you to this place. For I know the plans I have for you.
Should
This is the
apologize.
Lord's declaration. Plans for your well-being, not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. You will call to me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. I will be found by you. This is the Lord's declaration. And I will restore your fortunes and gather you from all the nations and places where I banished you. This is the Lord's declaration. I will restore you to the place from which I deported you. You have said, the Lord has raised up prophets for us in Babylon. But this is what the Lord says concerning the king sitting on David's throne, and concerning all the people living in this city. That is concerning your brothers who did not go with you into exile. This is what the Lord of armies says. I am about to send sword,
Okay.
famine, and plague against them.
Well, I don't
And
think
I
it's
will make
cheating.
them like rotten figs that are inedible because they are so bad. I will pursue them with sword, famine, and plague, a horror to all the kingdoms of the earth, a curse and a desolation, an object of scorn and a disgrace among all the nations where I have banished them. I will do this because they have not listened to my words. This is the Lord's declaration. The words that I sent to them with my servants the prophets, time and time again. And you too have not listened. This is the Lord's declaration. Hear the word of the Lord, all you exiles I have sent from Jerusalem to Babylon. This is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says about Ahab son of Kaliah, and concerning Zedekiah son of Maaseiah, the ones prophesying a lie to you in my name. I am about to hand them over to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, and he will kill them before your very eyes. Based on what happens to them, all the exiles of Judah who are in Babylon will create a curse that says, May the Lord make you like Zedekiah and Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have committed an outrage in Israel by committing adultery with their neighbors' wives, and have spoken in my name a lie which I did not command them. I am he who knows, and I am a witness. This is the Lord's declaration. To Shemaiah the Nehelamite you are to say, This is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says. You in your own name have sent out letters to all the people of Jerusalem, to the priest Zephaniah son of Maaseiah, and to all the priests, saying, The Lord has appointed you priest, in place of the priest Jehoiada, to be the chief officer in the temple of the Lord, responsible for every madman who acts like a prophet. You must confine him in the stocks and an iron collar. So now, why have you not rebuked Jeremiah of Anathoth, who has been acting like a prophet among you? For he has sent word to us in Babylon, claiming, the exile will be long. Build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat their produce. The priest Zephaniah read this letter in the hearing of the prophet Jeremiah. Then the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah. Send a message to all the exiles, saying, this is what the Lord says concerning Shemaiah the Nehelamite. Because Shemaiah prophesied to you, though I did not send him, and made you trust a lie, this is what the Lord says. I am about to punish Shemaiah the Nehelamite and his descendants. There will not be even one of his descendants living among these people, nor will any ever see the good that I will bring to my people. This is the Lord's declaration, for he has preached rebellion against the Lord. Chapter 3.
Nope, no. Alright, next is going to be Psalms 23. You know what? I'll find it this way. It's easy. Oh. Psalms 23, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. The Lord is my shepherd. I have what I need. He lets me lie down in green pastures. I'm sorry. Let's start over. The Lord is my shepherd. I have that I need. He let me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He renews my life. He leads me along the right paths for his name's sake. This is quite short. I'll read this no matter how horrible I am at it. Oh, wow. This is wicked short. Okay, I'll read 1 through... we run through 6 again. 1 through 8. This is only 6, so I'm like, this is wicked short. The Lord is my shepherd. I have what I need. He lets me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He renews my life. He leads me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even when I go through the darkest valley, I fear no danger, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Only goodness and faithful love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord as long as I live. And we'll continue with Deuteronomy 9 through whatever I can do. Let me go. I'll read a few chapters if I can handle it good. Yeah, some days it's just not good for me to read because I have trouble reading certain words, and then I don't know what happened. And after that, I had trouble with everything. I was like that all during school, and some teachers actually called me lazy and stupid. And everybody wondered why I was so quiet and to myself. Okay. Well, I'm not done highlighting. I thought I was done highlighting. Oh boy. There you go. That's the warning against self righteousness. Listen, Israel. Some people pronounce it Israel, but I think it's Israel. Today you are about to cross the Jordan to enter and drive out nations greater and stronger than you, with large cities fortified to the heavens. The people are strong and tall, and descendants of the Anakim. You know about them, and you have heard it said about them. Who can stand up to the sons of Anak, but understand that today the Lord your God will cross over ahead of you as a consuming fire. He will devastate and subdue them before you. You will drive them out and destroy them swiftly, as the Lord has told you. When the Lord your God drives them out before you, do not say to yourself, the Lord brought me in to take possession of this land because of my righteousness. Instead, the Lord will drive out the nations before you because of their wickedness. You are not going to take possession of their land because of your righteousness or your integrity. Instead, the Lord your God will drive out the nations before you because of their wickedness in order to fulfill the promise he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Understand that the Lord your God has not given you this good land to possess because of your righteousness, for you are a stiff-necked people. Israel's rebellion and Moses' intercession. Remember and do not forget how you provoked the Lord your God in the wilderness. You have been rebelling against the Lord from the day you left the land of Egypt until you reached this place. You provoked the Lord at Horeb, and he was angry enough with you to destroy you. When I went up the mountain to receive the stone tablets, the tablets of the covenant the Lord made with you, I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I did not eat food or drink water. On the day of the assembly, the Lord gave me the two stone tablets inscribed by God's finger. The exact words were on them, which the Lord spoke to you from the fire of the mountain. The Lord gave me the two stone tablets, the tablets on the covenant at the end of the 40 days and 40 nights. The Lord said to me, give up and go down immediately from here. For your people whom you brought out of Egypt have acted corruptly. They have quickly turned from the way that I commanded them. They have had a cast image for themselves. The Lord also said to me, I have seen the people, and indeed they are a stiff-necked people. Leave me alone, and I will destroy them, and blot out their names under heaven. Then I will make you into a nation stronger and more numerous than they. So I went back down the mountain while it was blazing with fire, and the two tablets of the covenant were in my hands. I saw how you had sinned against the Lord your God. You had made a calf image for yourselves. You had quickly turned from the way the Lord had commanded for you. So I took hold of the two tablets and threw them from my hands, shattering them before your eyes. I fell down like the first time in the presence of the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights. Um, maybe snobby, maybe? Maybe snobbish, maybe? I'm guessing that's what it means. I'm probably wrong, though. I did not eat food or drink water because of all the sin you committed, doing what was evil in the Lord's sight and angering him. I was afraid of the fierce anger the Lord had directed against you, because he was about to destroy you. But again, the Lord listened to me on that occasion. The Lord was angry enough with Aaron to destroy him, but I prayed for Aaron at that time also. I took the sinful calf you had made and burned it. I crushed it, though roughly, grinded it to powder as fine as dust, and threw its dust into the stream that came down from the mountain. You continued to provoke the Lord at Tiber, Tibera, Meza, Kibroth, Hattaavah, when the Lord sent you from Kadesh Barnea, he said, "Go up and possess the land I have given you." You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You did not believe or obey him. You have been rebelling against the Lord ever since I have known you. I fell down in the presence of the Lord 40 days, 40 nights, because the Lord had threatened to destroy you. I prayed to the Lord. Hold on. Lord God, do not annihilate your people, your inheritance, whom you redeemed through your greatness and brought out of Egypt with a strong hand. Remember your servants, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Disregard these people's stubbornness and their wickedness and sin. Otherwise, those in the land you brought us from will say, because the Lord wasn't able to bring them into the land he had promised them, and because he hated them, he brought them out to kill them in the wilderness. But they are your people, your inheritance, whom you brought out by your great power and outstretched arm. Thank you. The covenant renewed. The Lord said to me at the time, cut 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and come to me on the mountain and make a wooden ark. I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets you broke, and you are to place them in the ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood, cut 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and climbed the mountain with the 2 tablets in my hands. Then on the day of the assembly, the Lord wrote on the tablets what had been written previously, the Ten Commandments, that he had spoken to you on the mountains from the fire. The Lord gave them to me, and I went back down the mountains and placed the tablets in the ark I had made, and they have remained there. As the Lord commanded me, the Israelites traveled from Beroth Ben Jakin to Mazara. Aaron died and was buried there. And Eliezer, his son, became priest in his place. They traveled from there to Gada, and from Gadada to Jodbatha, a land with flowering streams. At that time, the Lord set apart the tribes of Levi, to carry the ark of the Lord's covenant, to stand before the Lord to serve him, and to pronounce blessing in his name, as it is today. For the reason Levi does not have a portion or inheritance like his brothers, the Lord is his inheritance, as the Lord your God told him. I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, like the first time. The Lord also listens to me on this occasion. He agreed not to annihilate you. Then the Lord said to me, get up, continue your journey ahead of the people, so that they may enter and possess the land I swore to give their fathers. What God requires. Oh, I skipped one. And now Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you except to fear the Lord your God by walking in all this his way, to love him and to worship the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul. Keep the Lord's commands and statutes I am giving you today for your own good. The heavens, indeed the highest heavens, belong to the Lord your God, as does the earth and everything in it. Yet the Lord has his heart set on your fathers and loved them. He chose their descendants after them. He chose you out of all the people, as it is today. Therefore, circumcise your hearts and don't be stiff necked any longer. For the Lord your God is the God of gods and Lord of lords. That could be a tongue twister. The great, mighty, in awe, inspiring, God, showing no particularly partiality. I don't know. In taking no bribe. He executes justice for the fatherless and the widow and loves the resident alien, giving him food and clothing. You are also to love the resident alien, since you were resident aliens in the land of Egypt. You are to fear the Lord your God and worship him. Remain faithful to him and take oaths in his name. He is your praise, and he is in your God, who has done for you these great and awe inspiring works your eyes have seen. Your fathers went down to Egypt, 70 people in all. Now the Lord your God has made you numerous like the stars of the skies. The guy's gonna read the rest because I'm getting very frustrated.
Chapter 11.
Maybe I'll leave the last one.
Therefore, love the Lord your God, and always keep his mandate, and his statutes, ordinances, and commands. Understand today that it is not your children who experienced or saw the discipline of the Lord your God, his greatness, strong hand, and outstretched arm, his signs, and the works he did in Egypt to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and all his land, what he did to Egypt's army, its horses and chariots, when he made the water of the Red Sea flow over them, as they pursued you, and he destroyed them completely. What he did to you in the wilderness, until you reached this place, and what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab the Reubenite, when in the middle of the whole Israelite camp the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them, their households, their tents, and every living thing with them. Your own eyes have seen every great work the Lord has done. Keep every command I am giving you today, so that you may have the strength to cross into and possess the land you are to inherit, and so that you may live long in the land the Lord swore to your fathers to give them and their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land you are entering to possess is not like the land of Egypt, from which you have come, where you sowed your seed and irrigated by hand, as in a vegetable garden. But the land you are entering to possess is a land of mountains and valleys, watered by rain from the sky. It is a land the Lord your God cares for. He is always watching over it, from the beginning to the end of the year. If you carefully obey my commands I am giving you today, to love the Lord your God and worship him with all your heart and all your soul, I will provide rain for your land in the proper time, the autumn and spring rains. And you will harvest your grain, new wine, and fresh oil. I will provide grass in your fields for your livestock. You will eat and be satisfied. Be careful that you are not enticed to turn aside, serve and bow in worship to other gods. Then the Lord's anger will burn against you. He will shut the sky, and there will be no rain. The land will not yield its produce, and you will perish quickly from the good land the Lord is giving you. Imprint these words of mine on your hearts and minds. Bind them as a sign on your hands, and let them be a symbol on your foreheads. Teach them to your children, talking about them when you sit in your house and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your city gates, so that, as long as the heavens are above the earth, your days and those of your children may be many in the land the Lord swore to give your fathers. For if you carefully observe every one of these commands I am giving you to follow, to love the Lord your God, walk in all his ways, and remain faithful to him, the Lord will drive out all these nations before you, and you will drive out nations greater and stronger than you are. Every place the sole of your foot treads will be yours. Your territory will extend from the wilderness to Lebanon, and from the Euphrates River to the Mediterranean Sea. No one will be able to stand against you. The Lord your God will put fear and dread of you in all the land where you set foot, as he has promised you. Look, today I set before you a blessing and a curse. There will be a blessing if you obey the commands of the Lord your God I am giving you today, and a curse if you do not obey the commands of the Lord your God, and you turn aside from the path I command you today, by following other gods you have not known. When the Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering to possess, you are to proclaim the blessing at Mount Gerizim, and the curse at Mount Ebal. Aren't these mountains across the Jordan, beyond the western road in the land of the Canaanites, who live in the Arabah, opposite Gilgal, near the oaks of Moreh? For you are about to cross the Jordan to enter and take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving you. When you possess it and settle in it, be careful to follow all the statutes and ordinances I set before you today. Chapter 12. Be careful to follow these statutes and ordinances in the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you to possess all the days you live on the earth. Destroy completely all the places where the nations that you are driving out worship their gods. On the high mountains, on the hills, and under every green tree. Tear down their altars, smash their sacred pillars, burn their Asherah poles, cut down the carved images of their gods, and wipe out their names from every place. Don't worship the Lord your God this way. Instead, turn to the place the Lord your God chooses from all your tribes to put his name for his dwelling and go there. You are to bring there your burnt offerings and sacrifices, your tenths and personal contributions, your vow offerings and free will offerings, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks. You will eat there in the presence of the Lord your God, and rejoice with your household in everything you do, because the Lord your God has blessed you. You are not to do as we are doing here today. Everyone is doing whatever seems right in his own sight. Indeed, you have not yet come into the resting place and the inheritance the Lord your God is giving you. When you cross the Jordan and live in the land the Lord your God is giving you to inherit, and he gives you rest from all the enemies around you, and you live in security, then the Lord your God will choose the place to have his name dwell. Bring there everything I command you, your burnt offerings, sacrifices, offerings of the tenth, personal contributions, and all your choice offerings you vow to the Lord. You will rejoice before the Lord your God, you, your sons and daughters, your male and female slaves, and the Levite who is within your city gates, since he has no portion or inheritance among you. Be careful not to offer your burnt offerings in all the sacred places you see. You must offer your burnt offerings only in the place the Lord chooses, in one of your tribes, and there you must do everything I command you. But whenever you want, you may slaughter and eat meat within any of your city gates, according to the blessing the Lord your God has given you. Those who are clean or unclean may eat it, as they would a gazelle or deer. But you must not eat the blood. Pour it on the ground like water. Within your city gates you may not eat the tenth of your grain, new wine, or fresh oil, the firstborn of your herd or flock, any of your vow offerings that you pledge, your free will offerings, or your personal contributions. You are to eat them in the presence of the Lord your God, at the place the Lord your God chooses. You, your son and daughter, your male and female slave, and the Levite who is within your city gates. Rejoice before the Lord your God in everything you do, and be careful not to neglect the Levite, as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God enlarges your territory, as he has promised you, and you say, I want to eat meat, because you have a strong desire to eat meat, you may eat it whenever you want. If the place where the Lord your God chooses to put his name is too far from you, you may slaughter any of your herd or flock he has given you, as I have commanded you, and you may eat it within your city gates whenever you want. Indeed, you may eat it as the gazelle and deer are eaten. Both the clean and the unclean may eat it. But don't eat the blood, since the blood is the life, and you must not eat the life with the meat. Do not eat blood. Pour it on the ground like water. Do not eat it, so that you and your children after you will prosper, because you will be doing what is right in the Lord's sight. But you are to take the holy offerings you have and your vow offerings, and go to the place the Lord chooses. Present the meat and blood of your burnt offerings on the altar of the Lord your God. The blood of your other sacrifices is to be poured out beside the altar of the Lord your God. But you may eat the meat. Be careful to obey all these things I command you, so that you and your children after you may prosper forever, because you will be doing what is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God. When the Lord your God annihilates the nations before you, which you are entering to take possession of, and you drive them out and live in their land, be careful not to be ensnared by their ways, after they have been destroyed before you. Do not inquire about their gods, asking, how did these nations worship their gods? I'll also do the same. You must not do the same to the Lord your God, because they practice every detestable act which the Lord hates for their gods. They even burn their sons and daughters in the fire to their gods. Be careful to do everything I command you. Do not add anything to it, or take anything away from it.
I might read the next one. Oh, yeah. Let me just outline this one and then I'll read it. Remember when I said I was thinking about stopping these? And you and several other people will say they'll watch it and you're the only one that comes back? Even Gemma don't come no more. Um, the false prophet. If a prophet or someone who has dreams arises among you and proclaims a sign or wonder to you, and that sign or wonder he has promised you comes about, but he says, let us follow other gods, which you have not known, and let us worship them. Do not listen to the prophet's words or to the dreamer. For the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you love the Lord or God with all your heart and all your soul. You must follow the Lord your God and fear him. You must keep his commands and listen to him. You must worship him and remain faithful to him. That prophet or dreamer must be put to death because he has urged rebellion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you from the place of slavery, to turn you from the way the Lord your God has commanded you to walk. You must purge the evil from you. Don't tolerate idol, I, idolatry, idolatry. If you, if your brother, the son of your mother, or your son of or daughter, or the wife you embrace, or your closest friend secretly entices you, saying, let us go and worship other gods, which neither you nor your father have known, any other gods of the peoples around you, near you or far from you, from one end of the earth to the other. Do not yield to him or listen to him. Show him no pity, and do not spare him or shield him. Instead, you must kill him. Your hands is to be the first against him to put him to death, and then the hands of all the people stone him to death for trying to turn you away from the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. All Israel will hear and be afraid, and they will no longer do anything evil like this among you. If you hear it said about one of your cities the Lord your God is giving you to live in, that wicked men have sprung up among you, led the inhabitants of their cities astray, and said, let us go and worship other gods which you have not known. You ought to inquire, investigate, and interrogate thoroughly. If the report turns out to be true that this detestable act has been done among you, you must strike down the inhabitants of the city with the sword, completely destroy everyone in it. Yes. As well as its livestock with the sword. You are to gather all its spoil in the middle of the city square and completely burn the city and all its spoil for the Lord your God. This city is to remain a mount of ruin forever. It is not to be rebuilt, nothing set apart for destruction. It is remain in your hand, so that the Lord will turn from his burning anger and grant you mercy. Show you compassion and multiply you as he swore to your fathers. This will occur if you obey the Lord your God, keeping all his commands I am giving you today, doing what is right in the sight of the Lord your God. He will make it a better place as soon as everybody believes in him. I'm outlining the next chapter. Yeah. As soon as everybody believes in him, everybody, he'll make this world a better place. Until then, we got to suffer. And so many people say, if someone's suffering, isn't that the works of the devil? Not all the time, you know. It's to drive out the all the sin people, bad people. And sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. Deuteronomy 14. Forbidden practices. You are sons of the Lord your God. Do not cut yourselves or make a bald spot on your head on behalf of the dead, for you are a holy person belonging to the Lord your God. The Lord has chosen you to be in his own possession, out of all the peoples on the face of the earth. Clean and unclean foods. Oh boy. You must not eat any detestable thing. These are the animals you may eat: oxen, sheep, goat, deer, gazelles, roe deer. What the heck is a roe deer? Wild goats, ibex, antelopes, and mountain sheep. You may eat any animals that have hooves divided in two and chews its cud. But among the ones that chew the cud or have divided hooves are not to eat these: camels, hares, and hyraxes. Though they chew their cud, they do not have hooves. They are unclean for you. Wait. Sorry, oh, there we go. And pigs, though they have hooves, they do not chew the cud. They are unclean for you. Ooh, see, we shouldn't eat pork or bacon. Do not eat their meat or touch their carcasses. You may eat everything from the water that has fins and scales, but you may not eat anything that does not have fins or scales. It is unclean for you. You may eat every clean bird, but these are ones you may not eat: eagles, bearded vultures, black vultures, the kites, and any kind of falcon, every kind of raven, ostrich, short-eared owls, gulls, and any kind of hawks, little owls, long-eared owls, barn owls, eagle owls, osprey cormorants, storks, any kind of heron, hoopoes, and bats. All winged insects are unclean for you, they may not be eaten. But you may eat every clean flying creature. You are not to eat any carcass. You may give it to a resident alien within your city gates, and he may eat it, or you may sell it to a foreigner. For you are a holy people, belonging to the Lord your God. Do not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. The tenth of the Lord. Each year you are to set aside a tenth of all the produce grown in your fields. You are to eat a tenth of your grain, new wine, and fresh oil, and the firstborn of your herd and flock, in the presence of the Lord your God, at the place where he chooses to have his name dwell, so that you will always learn to fear the Lord your God. But if the distance is too great for you to carry it, since the place where the Lord your God chooses to put his name is too far away from you, and since the Lord your God has blessed you, then exchange it for silver. Take the silver in your hand and go to the place the Lord your God chooses. You may spend the silver on anything you want: cattle, sheep, goat, wine, beer, or anything you desire. You are to feast there in the presence of the Lord your God and rejoice with your family. Do not neglect the Levite within your city limit gates, since he has no portion or inheritance among you. At the end of every 3 years, bring a tenth of all your produce for that year and store it within your city gates. Then the Levite, who has no portion or inheritance among you, the resident alien, the fatherless, and the widow within your city gates may come, eat, and be satisfied. And the Lord your God will bless you in all the work of your hands that you do. Boo. I'm out. I'm highlighting. Hold on. Okie dokie. Deuteronomy 15. Debts canceled. Does that mean for everybody now, too? Oh. Debts canceled. At the end of every 7 years, you must cancel debts. This is how to cancel debts. Every editor is to cancel what he has lent his neighbor. He is not to collect anything from his neighbor or brother, because the Lord's release of debts has been proclaimed. You may collect something from a foreigner, but you must forgive whatever your brother owes you. There will be no poor among you. However, because the Lord is certain to bless you in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess as inheritance, if only you obey the Lord your God and are careful to follow every one of these commands I am giving you today. When the Lord your God blesses you as he has promised you, you will lend to many nations, but not borrow. You will rule many nations, but they will not rule you. Yeah. Lending to the poor. If there is a poor person among you, one of your brothers within any of your city gates in the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not be hard-hearted or tight-fisted toward your poor brother. Instead, you are to open your hand to give him a freely loan him enough for whatever need he has. He careful that there isn't his wicked thought in your heart. The seventh year, the year of canceling debts, is near, and you are stingy toward your poor brother and give him nothing. He will cry out to the Lord against you, and you will be guilty. Give to him, and don't have a stingy heart. When you give, and because of this, the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in everything you do. For there will be never cease to be poor people in the land. That is why I am commanding you. Open your hand willingly to your poor and needy brother in your land. Release of slaves. If you If your fellow Hebrew, a man or woman, is sold to you and serves you 6 years, you must set him free in the 7th year. When you set him free, do not send him away empty-handed. Give him generously to him from your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress. You are to give him whatever the Lord your God has blessed you with. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. That is why I am giving you this command today. But if your slave says to you, I do not want to leave you, because he loves you and your family and is well off with you, take an awl and pierce through his ear into the door, and he will become your slave for life. Also treat your female slave the same way. Do not regard it as a hardship. When you set him free, because he works for you 6 years, worth twice the wages of a hired worker, then the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do. Consecration of firstborn animals. Consecrate to the Lord your God every first male produced by your herd and flock. You are not to put the firstborn of your oxen to work or share the firstborn of your flock. Each year, you and your family are to eat it before the Lord your God in the place the Lord chooses. But if there is a defect in the animal, if it is lame or blind or has any serious defect, you may not sacrifice it to the Lord your God. Eat it within your city gates. Both the unclean person and the clean may eat it, as though it were a gazelle or deer. But you must not eat its blood. Pour it on the ground like water. Who would eat blood? And I'm going to let the guy read the next one. And this is the last one.
Chapter 16. Set aside the month of Abib and observe the Passover to the Lord your God, because the Lord your God brought you out of Egypt by night in the month of Abib. Sacrifice to the Lord your God a Passover animal from the herd or flock in the place where the Lord chooses to have his name dwell. Do not eat leavened bread with it. For 7 days you are to eat unleavened bread with it, the bread of hardship, because you left the land of Egypt in a hurry, so that you may remember for the rest of your life the day you left the land of Egypt. No yeast is to be found anywhere in your territory for 7 days. And none of the meat you sacrifice in the evening of the first day is to remain until morning. You are not to sacrifice the Passover animal in any of the towns the Lord your God is giving you. Sacrifice the Passover animal only at the place where the Lord your God chooses to have his name dwell. Do this in the evening as the sun sets, at the same time of day you departed from Egypt. You are to cook and eat it in the place the Lord your God chooses, and you are to return to your tents in the morning. Eat unleavened bread for 6 days. On the 7th day, there is to be a solemn assembly to the Lord your God. Do not do any work. You are to count 7 weeks, counting the weeks from the time the sickle is first put to the standing grain. You are to celebrate the festival of weeks to the Lord your God with a free will offering that you give in proportion to how the Lord your God has blessed you. Rejoice before the Lord your God in the place where he chooses to have his name dwell. You, your son and daughter, your male and female slave, the Levite within your city gates, as well as the resident alien, the fatherless, and the widow among you. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt. Carefully follow these statutes. You are to celebrate the festival of shelters for 7 days when you have gathered in everything from your threshing floor and winepress. Rejoice during your festival. You, your son and daughter, your male and female slave, as well as the Levite, the resident alien, the fatherless, and the widow within your city gates. You are to hold a 7-day festival for the Lord your God in the place he chooses, because the Lord your God will bless you in all your produce and in all the work of your hands, and you will have abundant joy. All your males are to appear 3 times a year before the Lord your God.
Ooh, sorry.
In the place he chooses, at the festival of unleavened bread, the festival of weeks, and the festival of shelters. No one is to appear before the Lord empty-handed. Everyone must appear with a gift suited to his means, according to the blessing the Lord your God has given you. Appoint judges and officials for your tribes in all your towns the Lord your God is giving you. They are to judge the people with righteous judgment. Do not deny justice or show partiality to anyone. Do not accept a bribe, for it blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of the righteous. Pursue justice and justice alone, so that you will live and possess the land the Lord your God is giving you. Do not set up an Asherah of any kind of wood next to the altar you will build for the Lord your God. And do not set up a sacred pillar. The Lord your God hates them.
Okay, that is it for today. So we did 16 and we'll do 17 through 25 tomorrow, and the next day after that we'll finish. And I gotta go eat. Well, actually, first I gotta pee and do dishes, then I have to eat. And then I'll be on the other channel doing my morning chat. I really, really gotta go pee. And Angela, thank you for staying here. And I'll see you soon, and